Social media, salon management, and building a dream clientele. How do you juggle it all in today's beauty industry? Well, our guest today is sharing the blueprint that stylists and salon owners can use to grow online, attract more clients, and create a salon culture that lasts. Welcome to the Salon Scoop, the podcast that helps salon owners and salon professionals grow their business, boost their brand, and stay inspired. From salon marketing and social media to leadership and growth, we uncover the strategies and stories that move the industry forward. If you love learning, growing, and are serious about leveling up your salon business and brand, you've just found your new go-to podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Salon Scoop. We are super excited to be joined today by Erica Keelan, a salon owner, a top colorist in the industry. She has won L'Oreal Color Trophy and actually placed third globally in the Color Trophy competition, has had numerous NAHA nominations. She's also a digital powerhouse with over 31,000 Instagram followers. She has been able to juggle and manage it all. She has built a thriving business while still working behind the chair. And today she is here to share her secrets and her success recipe, essentially, with all of us. So, Erica, super excited to have you with us today. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. That sounds way more professional than I really look at myself. But yes, thank you so much for having me. And I love talking about this kind of stuff. Hair styling and hairdressing has been just a huge part of my life. So I love it.
Well, we are going to get into your story a little bit, but one S.O.S signature question that we like to ask all of our guests before we delve in is a fun one. And that's, Erica, if you could do any celebrity's hair that you have never done before, who would that be and why would you want to work on them?
I can't pick anybody. I mean, I would love to do like a Cardi B or a Lady Gaga, someone who wants a really creative, and it's more than likely going to be a wig because I work with wigs a lot with my creativity, like my creative stuff.
Yeah.
So something like that is really where I would like to do a celebrity's hair. I don't necessarily have to be the one installing it, but I just want to be the one to color it and make a custom piece that goes with an outfit that they have, where you can tell that the hair's inspired by the wardrobe or whatever theme they give me.
The whole look coming together.
Yeah, it's kind of that would be my dream celebrity client.
Nice. And you're a color expert yourself. Who's a celebrity out there right now that you just think has stunning color that you love?
I'm pretty natural now, like, and there's really not anybody that has like, yeah, there's pretty balayages. I mean, Sabrina Carpenter's blonde is beautiful right now. That's very on trend. And then you've got Lindsay Lohan. You've got a lot of celebrities right now that are really repping these color companies. So those two names come to mind at first. But I think color right now is very natural and simple, and I love that too. But if I got to work with any celebrity, yeah, I definitely want it to be something bold.
Nice.
And like I say, that's probably going to be a wig nowadays. We don't do that to people's hair anymore. When we don't have to, why would we?
Yeah. Yeah, and that way they can more easily and quickly change looks on the fly.
And keep the integrity of their hair.
Yeah, of course, because for future changes in the amount that they often do. We want our listeners to get to know you a little bit better, Erica, before we kind of delve into some of your success. Can you start maybe just telling us how you got into the beauty industry, a quick origin story? I love hearing, how people got involved in the first place. Who were you? Where were you? What was the trigger to get into this beautiful industry of ours?
I am what I think a normal artistic hairdresser. I'm dyslexic, had a hard time in high school, and hair was the one thing I felt like I was naturally good at. And it just resonated with me. So my parents were definitely believers in going to college. I was not that kid. I knew I was not going to college, so I convinced them to let me go to hair school. And so I went to hair school at 18, right after high school. And I've been in the industry since 98. The first 10 to 15 years of my career, I did not take it very serious. I was naturally good at hair, but I was in the generation where I was just thrown on the floor. I didn't go through any apprenticeship training. I kind of learned as I went, which I'm sure I have some clients from back then that I owe a big apology to. Um, but I do think it was something I was naturally good at. And then probably when I got a little closer to 30, after 12 years in the industry, I worked at a salon it taught me about numbers and like how to work on a team and how to educate your fellow stylist and that kind of thing. And that's really what led me into where I am now with running a salon. And when I was at that salon is when Instagram in like 2014 was really becoming popular. And I really built my following in 2014, 2015, when it was just photos and stuff like that. So I have evolved throughout the years. I have done different things to keep me motivated, but I was your typical, like, I joke with my young stylists at the salon that still party a lot. I was that stylist. I had a good time. I showed up for work, but I didn't really take it serious until probably 12 or so years in. And at that point, I was confident in my skill to do other things. In the beginning, I had no clue how to teach or how to talk to others about how I was doing what I was doing. I was just like, look, this is how you do a bob. I wasn't good with my facilitation skills, and I'm still not great with it, but I feel like I'm a lot more confident now.
Nice. And how many years ago did you open your salon company?
We opened our salon in 2016, so it's been 9 years
Okay,
this
nice.
December. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, we'll start with your kind of, personal journey of growing a clientele and then shift into digital because, based on what you just shared with us, you started off kind of before digital was really a
Yeah.
big thing. So kind of curious to get a sense of how did you build your clientele behind the chair and what were the things that worked best for you kind of in that maybe the first 10, 12 years or so that you were.
I think personality is probably what got me a long ways is I was able to talk to people and handle my anxiety to where they didn't know. Cause I mean, I was just as nervous as they were. But at that point, we didn't have social media. We had to depend on the salons. At that point, the salons spent a lot of money into marketing. And so I did always align myself at a salon that would help me fill my books. But you had word of mouth, taking your cards out, talking to people naturally, not digitally. And I feel like that is what's gotten me through the past literally 30 years in the industry is that I can connect with people, not just online, but in person. Because it's easy to connect with people online. It's a lot harder when you get them in your chair and you have to like make them happy. So I think my personality has been a big part of it is that or I don't know if that's personality or just my energy, but dealing with the client and making them feel heard and happy I always heard they don't know the difference between a good and a great haircut, but they know the difference between a good and a great experience. And so I really have always tried to focus on the experience, and the consultation is a big thing too.
Absolutely. I love that you said that. And that's definitely a quote that I have heard and appreciate and support very much.
Oh, what's his name? Oh, he's a podcaster that says it all the time. He used to be at Hairbrain. I can't remember his name. He was at Modern or American Salon before then.
Yeah.
But I'm blanking right now. I should give him credit.
I think everyone knows, has heard that quote for sure. So clearly, though, communication, as you said, and building connections has changed over time, and it's a bit of a lost skill, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And my belief is, yes, you need to be good in the digital space and understanding technology, but you can't not be good at communicating and connecting with people and still building those relationships. So it's marrying the two. How do you feel that digital marketing has changed the way that stylists in your salon company, at least the ones that you see and work with, are helping them attract clients, compared to the way that you did it when you started?
Yeah. Well, and like when I mentioned when I started, I always aligned myself with a salon that did a lot of marketing.
Yeah, and today a lot of salons out there are kind of relying on stylists to build their own clientele because of the ability to do that through digital. And
Yeah.
some stylists feel that it's on them, and the salon owner feels like, hey, like I shouldn't have to be doing all this work for you. There's a bit of a divide there. How do you see that?
It I do see, because what I was going to say with that is we've not paid into marketing. We are hiring a marketing agency right now because I do think things cycle back around. And we do a lot of content. So I want to utilize that content the best we can. So we are now, for the past 9 years, my stylists have completely built their books with social media and digital marketing, and it's worked beautifully. The ones that do more of it obviously book more. And our stylists do get the spillover from myself, my business owner. I'm still behind the chair 3 days a week. So I do still have a lot of spillover that go to our stylist. But digital marketing is all we've done up until this point. We just have a big enough team at this point and a strong enough team that if we do a ton of digital marketing, I'm confident that we can handle it. Because up until this point, we were a smaller salon. We expanded our salon a year ago, so we've doubled in size at this point. So we are still growing. Through COVID and through everything, we were able to make some of those adjustments and change to still do it. And like I say, now we're going to do digital marketing, which we've never paid for. We've got a marketing team, but they're going to kind of help us with some ads and with our content creation, because now on social media, they want to see the culture of your team as much as they want to see a pretty picture of hair. Like if you're just posting pictures at this point, you're not doing enough. You
Yeah.
have to do more than that.
So actually, that leads into exactly what I wanted to ask you about the staff on your team, stylists. I don't know if you have other, estheticians or makeup artists, but what's your number one piece of advice for your service providers who want to use Instagram, let's say digital, but mostly Instagram probably, to
Yeah,
actually,
Instagram, TikTok,
yeah,
and
Instagram, TikTok, to actually book clients and not just post pretty pictures.
a big
How,
one there, and I am almost 50 years old, is getting out of your head. You just kind of have to do it. You have to put yourself out there and talk to the client. TikTok is our big one right now. We have a head spa also within our salon, and that's our new service that we've added over the past year. So we've really been focusing on that, and we get a lot of our leads off of TikTok right now. Instagram and TikTok. I'd say Instagram's bigger than TikTok, but TikTok's the new one, and TikTok's pushing your local community right now. So that is where we're getting a lot of leads.
so
And
let's
I would suggest doing that TikTok wise. But then within our culture, getting our girls to do reels and to get inspired by, I typically go like, I go to the Savannah Bananas pages or like something outside of our industry and find inspiration and then say, hey, let's get inspired by this and do some of the fun stuff, because our clients love that. I hear that from them all the time. They want to see that you can do hair, and you've got to educate them on that. But I'm really going into more of the showing our culture of our team, and then educating the client to let them know you're the leader in the industry, opposed to just showing a pretty haircut. Because you can show a beautiful haircut, but you got to connect with them a little bit more than that right now.
absolutely. And this is what people were doing on Instagram, 10, well, it is 5 to 10 years ago. It was just, you just post a picture, you post a picture of the hair, you post a picture of the
Hmm.
hair, you post a picture of the hair. But if you want to actually use these social media platforms to convert people to become actual clients, you need to do more than that. So can you talk a little bit more specifically about types of content? You talked about, a little bit more human and what's going on in the salon. What specifically has worked best for you and, your team in terms of actual content before and afters? You talked a little about education. The more specific examples you can give, I think our listeners will really benefit from that.
Um, educating them on how we did the process. Clients like to see that now. I have a big gray blending clientele. I'm getting a lot of new clients because, one, there's not a lot of people advertising it. You've got Jack Martin in California, but nobody in Jacksonville is advertising that they do gray blending. So I'm advertising that a lot. But showing the client why you're the best at this and why you're confident at this, in my opinion, is what they want to know. We have a stylist that, hands down, I think she's probably one of the best hand-tied extension artists in our city. And she has invested over the past year in bringing somebody in for her to show her clients why her extensions look so good and why they last so long. So I think talking to the client that way is probably the best way to get them in your chair right now, opposed to just saying, look at what I did. This is pretty,
Yeah, you want to be
that
the
is
beauty
my personal.
expert, right? You want to be the beauty expert, and clients want to go to the beauty expert, someone that they feel that they can trust, someone that they feel is going to be, better than, maybe someone else down the street or someone that they had been going to previously. And the way to do that is to showcase your expertise. And it's not just through the result, because the clients don't necessarily understand that. So I love what you shared about talking to them about the process of how they create that look, both from a color, from a cut, from a style standpoint. And probably, a lot that we talk about is the maintenance of these looks, right? Share some tips as to how they can maintain that look, how they can recreate that style at home between the visits. And that just creates that connection and that trust in you, that you're not just trying to take their money for, one visit appointment, but that you actually care about their beauty all the time, even those, 6 to 8 weeks that they're not in your chair.
Yeah. And keeping their hair in shape is obviously a main for me. Like our tagline is healthy hair, bold transformations, because I'm not going to do it if it's going to mess your hair up. And just to make you happy, sometimes it is a journey. It's not just an immediate instant gratification. And I think clients also, they like to see the big transformations. That's a big one on my page, is either a big color transformation or a big haircut. Those do tend to do well, but it needs to be more than the picture. If you want to do a carousel of pictures of like your work from the month, but I would even put that into a reel and do it as a reel. Even though Instagram, I do think there's times that they push the carousels and photos and stuff, but I do everything in reels at this point.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's definitely the biggest content driver that Instagram is going to be promoting. And it's Reels is the format that actually gets you the most eyeballs that are not your existing followers. Instagram likes to push Reels to people who are not currently following you. So it's a great opportunity to get new people to look at your content and to kind of discover you and then potentially start following you in the future. So that's actually a good segue, because Erica, you have built yourself a very nice following, over 31,000 followers on Instagram. And I'd love to understand what you think was the biggest driver of that growth for you online.
So my growth is a little bit different than probably a lot of people this day and age. Like I built my following in 2014, 2015 when it was photos. And when I was doing all the hair competitions, because I definitely did a lot more hair competitions back then. And a lot of the hair competitions were competitions hosted on Instagram. So that is when I built a lot of my following. I have not been as good about showing my everyday today life, because that is not who I am. I do struggle because I am Gen X. I am not a millennial. I'm not a Gen Z. So it's a little harder for me to constantly put myself out there, but I feel like I do it more than most people that have been doing hair, because I'm not trying to get famous off this. I'm just trying to keep my salon full. When I first started doing Instagram and like building my followers, I was really after being a platform artist, being an influencer, doing all of that stuff. Well, then I started the salon in 2016, and my focus has kind of gone into that. So my focus on Instagram now is more local community, that kind of stuff, opposed to being this big influencer, because I realized that's not who I am. I am more of a one-on-one person. I need to meet you in person to kind of get your energy and feel things out. And so my team at the salon is what I focused on the past 5 years. So growing my following recently has not been a huge thing, but I do have more of a local following now. But I've changed my focus. When I first started, I was trying to work for every color brand and I was winning. I was fortunate enough, I had a really good photographer, and that was my creative outlet. So I was loving doing every contest I could find on Instagram between 2014 and probably 2020. I did them. Um, so that was my high of that. And now my goal is to get more people in my salon and get my girls more booked and mentoring them and teaching them how to do it. And it doesn't matter about a following anymore. A following, as long as you create good content, it doesn't matter what your numbers are. But I was fortunate to build my numbers in the beginning.
So well said. Thank you for sharing that. And I love the aspect of focus. A lot of people in our, well, I mean, in our industry, sure, but probably in other places as well. You know, when you're scrolling on Instagram and you see these influencers and you're like, oh, wow, like they're doing this, I guess I need to do that too. What you need to do is you need to understand what's your objective, right? What do you
Yes.
actually want? And if you want to become an influencer, and digital famous, and be representing brands and ambassadors, great. Okay, then you can understand what are the tactics to allow you to kind of grow in that direction. But I would say that probably 95% of the industry is in your shoes, Erica, where you know what, they're not looking to become Insta famous. They actually just want to build a healthy, comfortable business in their local community with clients, whether it's for themselves or for their salon, if they're, an owner of a salon company. And what you're going to do, what you're going to post, how you're going to engage and interact is going to be very different based on that objective. So the first thing is really being clear on what you want, and then follow the people, the advice that are actually doing that particular thing. So Erica, I love that you shared that. We're going to be focusing on your story. What's one mistake that you see stylists, service providers in our industry making on Instagram today that's maybe holding back their growth?
I think people in my personal opinion, I like the satire. I like the cute, funny stuff. I don't need to know when you've had a bad day. I personally think that we all have them, I think we need to be human and be realistic to that. But I see a lot of people like the making fun of clients.
Oof.
Even if you're not making fun of that client that's sitting in your chair that day, if they had a bad day, they think you are. So some of that, I do think, sorry, I had to have some water. I do think some of that, if that's how you grew your following, more power to you. I'm not judging. We all do it differently, but I personally don't like that. I don't like, obviously keep anything political off your page. I see stylists putting, oh, if you did this, don't sit in my chair. I think it's healthy that we talk to all kinds of personalities. And I don't like to pigeonhole myself into just having one kind of clientele. I think it's nice that we all talk about different things. So, you know, no judgment when people do those things, but I just would choose not to. And I would encourage my girls not to do some of that stuff, like the making fun of the clients, as much as I would like to sometimes, because they give us some good content. It's not the way I personally want to do it.
Yeah, it's not
So
public. It's not public content. It's something maybe you
yeah,
share with your team in this, staff meeting, because you can all kind of relate to it together. But what
yeah,
you put out there on your social media reflects upon your character, and people are going to make judgments about you based on what they see, through your socials. I mean, that's how the
yeah,
world works, like it or not. So you have to be very conscious about what you're putting out there and what that reflects upon you. So if you're having a bad day and you're complaining about this and that reflects upon who you are as a person and who you're going to attract to potentially come and work with you. And as long as you're aware of that, then you
Yeah.
go ahead and do what you like. I think it's very good to be open and maybe to share some vulnerability, right, as a human, of
Yes.
things that you struggle with. And I think that is very good for people to kind of relate to you, because everybody struggles, everybody has issues that they're dealing with. But I agree with you completely that you don't want to be complaining about stuff, or teasing a client situation, or making political remarks and taking stances that are kind of divisive. That's probably not going to be serving you well in the long
No.
term.
But that's just advice I would give in life in general.
Yeah.
And I do, like, we had one recently, and one of our, and she asked me if she could do it. She was like, putting the baby stylist on enforcing the cancellation policy. That's fine. That's not making fun of a specific situation. That's a normal thing, And it's making fun of the baby stylist or the junior stylist, how we made her deal with the client, like, we've done a few little fun ones like that, but like, I've seen some where it's straight up talking about a situation with a client. And another client that you have may felt like they had a similar situation, and you're not even talking about them, but you've made them now feel like you are, and it just kind of trickles down. And even talking about situations at work, and you may not be talking about somebody directly that you work with, but
someone might pick up on it and feel like you potentially are.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about your salon ownership journey a little bit. I mean, running a salon in today's world is very different than it was just 10 years ago, right?
Mhm.
What do you feel or see as some of the biggest challenges that salon owners are facing in today's reality?
I would guess, with social media, everybody thinks the grass is always greener.
Mm,
Um, and I do feel like we have done a good job of trying to listen to the stylist over the past 10 years. So at our salon, how we do things is they have a way that they can work up to being a 1099 complete contractor, where we don't tell them when to be there. They have a chair however many days a week that they want it or whatever. We do share chairs, so the days they're not there, somebody else may be in that chair, and everybody has lockers, and we run that way. And then they can work up into our studios. So we try to build business owners. The stylist that needs a really structured, like, training program and test out system, our system may not be for them. But I think those systems are what died out 10 years ago. So we tried to listen to what our stylist and what we saw was going on in the industry. So we've given them a pathway to start as a commissioned stylist, because a lot of people can't start as a booth renter or 1099, whatever it's called in your area. Um, and we have a growth plan for them to then be able to work up into their suite. And I know that it has kept stylists in our salon that just needed a change. I'm a stylist. I, until I owned a salon, I had never worked anywhere for longer than 7 years. And I think that's a long time for most stylists. I think the average time is 3 to 5 years. So keeping your stylist happy in that 3 to 5 years and giving them a place to grow is what I think we have tried to do. And we've had stylists leave. People are going to leave. I mean, if you don't realize that as a salon owner, that is, it's going to happen. And 3 to 5 years is your time. So you need to make it the best time you can while you have them there. And then, like I say, we try to give them somewhere else to grow into.
I love that. So you've kind of created multiple business models inside of one space. It's interesting you
Yes.
shared that. We actually recorded an episode not that long ago called Creating a Hybrid Salon Inside Your Business, that really creates a space for people because some people want full independence, some people want partial independence, some people want the support and team. So if you're curious to learn a little bit more about that, you can go and search for the hybrid salon structure episode. But Erica, I'm curious to know how you create, if you have multiple people in your business. Some of them are employees. Some
Mhm.
of them, you said, are kind of like renting a chair, and some are working completely in a closed off suite inside of your overall space. How do you still create a culture of sort of, teamwork to kind of keep everybody engaged?
We had a strong culture when we opened because we were in a 1,500 square foot space with 10 stations before we moved into this space. And we still only have 10 stations. We just have the 5 private businesses that are within our salon. And 3 of those are hair salons. There is a massage therapist, and we have a med spa right now, but she will be moving out. And then one of our stylists is moving into her space and putting a 2-chair salon. So she'll be the only one that has a space that has 2 chairs in it. And keeping the team culture, I'll say we had a strong team culture before we moved into this bigger space. And it's not easy because the suite owners are their own businesses. But I think it comes from leadership, honestly. I am a team person. Like I said in the beginning, I'm dyslexic. So I've always had to depend on a team. And I have a business partner. My husband is part of it. My husband's very hands off. He does payroll, that kind of stuff. And then we have a salon manager. And I'm going to be honest, the salon manager is the one that does a lot of it. Jessica, my business partner, and I still work behind the chair, and like I only work 3 days behind the chair, so I'm able to do a lot of different things, and so is she. So we're not trying to both work 5 days a week behind the chair and run the salon. We know that doesn't work, but our manager really is the glue because she can check on everybody. She is the sounding board, and keeping everything kind of going. How we are kind of running it now is to get into our suites, you have to have worked on our team. So from now on, in the beginning, we did put people that had not been part of our team, but we are booked and busy enough now that when another suite becomes available, we'll have somebody from our team. And that's actually a good thing because then they've already been part of the team environment before they get into that studio.
Nice. I like that. So it's kind of a way for them to grow within your company and see that longer term potential for themselves in your space.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And you know what? Not everybody is right for the space.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have an incredible team right now. I'm so proud of the team that we've built. But I know that people have their own dreams. They move. So it's just making sure we fill the team with individuals that fit the group.
Yeah. Love that. One of the biggest struggles for salon owners in our industry has always been maintaining some kind of balance between the demands of being the business owner and leader and manager while still serving clients behind the chair yourself. How do you balance those demands?
There's therapy that helps me out. Honestly, I am focused on my health, keeping myself as balanced as possible because that's big, because it's a lot. We take on our clients' energy. I'm a 6 to 8 client a day kind of girl. So that's one personality after another, plus managing the salon. Like I say, I have a team to help me. I could not do all of that by myself. And I'm lucky I have just a really strong team to help me do that. But I take care of myself. I try to eat healthy. I work out. Taking care of yourself, if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of everybody else, and balance all of that. And, like the other day, I'm behind the chair. I'm 3 clients in the salon, and one of the girls walks up to me and wants to know, oh, the toilet's broken. I'm like, well, did you get the plunger? Like my thought is like problem solve. But people don't think that. She's like, oh no, I just put an out of order sign on the bathroom. And I was like, okay, I'll take care of that in a little bit. But that is something that I have a manager. And a lot of times I say, just call Amy. And Amy's our manager. And she'll just look and see if our manager honestly doesn't even live in our city. So we use our cameras a lot. So she'll look to see where somebody that she knows can handle the task. And she'll say, hey, can you go do the toilet, because I just can't always problem solve. I mean, you can't problem solve when you're 3 clients deep.
Yeah.
So it's having a team. That's the answer to that question. As a team is a huge part of how I'm successful.
Nice. And advice. And some people are there saying, well, you know what, we're only 5 people and, you know, I can't do that. But I think you still have people around you, and, you know, you have to probably build some trust and be able to delegate certain tasks to certain people. Like, no one person needs to be doing everything. And that's, I find too often we put too much weight on our shoulders, too much responsibility on ourselves, that I have to solve everything. I have to be the one to fix this. I have to be the one to do that. And it becomes overwhelming. And to your point, that's when you get burnout, frustration, and then you are no longer able to be the best version of yourself for you. You can't be the best version of yourself for your staff, can't be the best version of yourself for your clients, and you definitely can't be the best version of yourself when you go home to your family. And that really impacts your life. So
your overall mental.
Absolutely. Let's close off on some sort of key lessons learned here. What's one thing that you wish that you knew earlier on about social media and business, perhaps, that would have saved you time or stress in building out your salon company over the last 10 years?
One thing that I wish I knew about social media
or business, as a whole,
or business.
That just would have saved you time if you knew this 9 years ago when you first opened your salon, that you've had to kind of learn the hard way, that you could maybe pass on some key lessons learned to others.
Don't meet people in person. Don't just go by how you see them on social media. Like meeting people in person is a key to hiring part of your team, I think. And I would say I get in my head too much, like I wish I would have put myself out there more. And I'm typically attracted to people that put themselves out there more, because I'm like, ooh, they're actually doing that. But get out of your head and just do it. I think when I do it, I'm happy that I tend to get the end results when I actually take the time to record a before and after, because I have a lot of clients I don't even do social on, where I think I have a lot of missed opportunities. And it's really just taking the time. I've taken the time to teach myself how to edit and to do all of that stuff that I feel like a lot of people in my position, they subcontract that stuff out, but that's the creative side of things for me now. And I really enjoy that. So get out of your head. Don't be scared to try things, and grow in however it works for you.
Love that. That's really important. I talk all the time about personalization when it comes to social media. I mean, we as a company at Salon S.O.S. are a digital marketing support for the industry. We do websites, website maintenance and management. We do Google search engine, rankings. We have amazing client loyalty apps, reward program apps, and we do social media. But we do a very, very limited amount of social media, because a lot of salons that come to us and ask us for that service, I'm not shy to tell them, you know what, you're always going to get better results if you're able to do it yourself, because you are there in the salon every day with the client. You can capture the moments, you can describe things way better than any third-party company could ever possibly do that for you. So yes, there are times where the salon is just, at the bare minimum doing nothing and need some help. So therefore, obviously, we have services for that. But very often I convince, salons or stylists to end up doing it themselves. And I prefer to teach, people how to kind of get there with the right strategies and tactics and ways to be efficient and whatnot. Because to your point, you have to learn how to do that and take it on if you want to have the absolute best results for it. So that's really important. Let's finish with one more. Erica, if you could give one piece of advice to service providers who are either, starting off their career, or they're resetting and they need to, build up their business. What's one piece of advice you would give to people to help them grow their business faster than ever before?
Pick a path and follow that, like decide. I don't specialize in one specific thing, but the past year I've been trying to build my gray blending clientele, kind of focusing on of that. So picking one lane that you're trying to build and work on that. And with that, don't be scared to do all the other stuff. Still learn the other stuff, because I think people are getting pigeonholed into these like really specific niches, and clients won't change, so that's part of our business. So maybe focus on a niche at first, like, if it's blonding or whatever, but still learn how to do the other stuff. So when that client's ready for a change, you are the stylist that they can stay with, and they don't have to go find someone else. But building a clientele, I do think specializing in something is a great way to do that. I just always continue to do education. Like, I couldn't imagine just blonding for 30 years. And I don't think people really do that, but I know specializing over the past like 15 years has been really big. It was always big in like salons in like bigger cities, like in, and like a Vidal Sassoon, they had colorist and cuts, or a lot of Aveda salons were that way. But it's even gotten more specialized than that, or niche down than that. So I would focus on that, but not limit myself to just one thing.
Love that. Great piece of advice. Erica, I want everybody to go and follow you on social media so that they can, watch, learn, see what you're doing as a great example of somebody who has been able to build, that focus, that niche that you talk about, and, build a great clientele. Where is the best place for people to find you online?
You can find me at Studio Sage Hair. And then my personal account is Erica Keelan _studio_sage. And then we have a TikTok also. Facebook, I'm on those 3 platforms.
Is TikTok, what's the handle for TikTok?
Studio Sage Hair. Studio Sage Hair, I think, on TikTok.
Nice. All right, everyone, I really encourage you to go and follow that account and check it out for inspiration. Hope that you got a lot out of today's episode. Erica, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your experience, sharing your insights, sharing your expertise, best practices of what's worked, what hasn't worked, and general learnings for the industry. I think that we, can all learn from each other, and we do our very best to highlight some of these stories from industry professionals that are having success. So really appreciate you taking the time with us today to share your story.
Thank you for having me.
If anyone has any questions, I'm sure you can reach out to Erica. If you want to ask her things directly, you can always reach out to us at salon.s.o.s on social media. And until next time, keep learning, keep creating, and keep building the career and business that you deserve for yourself. Thank you so much for listening to the Salon Scoop podcast. This show is produced by Salon S.O.S, a digital marketing agency by industry professionals for industry professionals. If you want simple and affordable solutions for any of your salon marketing needs, such as websites, client loyalty, Google search rankings, social media, or more, come visit us at salonsos.ca or on Instagram at salon.s.o.s. If you want to hear more episodes like this and help us continue to bring the industry great content, it would mean so much to us if you would support us in one of the following ways. Either share this episode with one other industry professional, and rate the show on Spotify, or write us a quick review on Apple Music. We want to hear your feedback. If you have follow-up questions or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. DM us on Instagram at salonus.s.o.s, or hit us up on our website again at salonsos.ca. Again, thanks so much for listening. Now go get your hustle on, keep smiling, and we'll catch you on our next episode.